Welcome everybody to Through Eternity Walks. It's me, Rob, back again. Hi guys, it's been a while. Sorry the sun's behind you. And I apologize for the sound because we weren't able to get a mic that would work well with us. But here we are at a place in Rome called Saint Laurence, outside the walls and the cemetery of Verano. Now let me get back to, I wanted to tell you a little bit about, of course, the story of Saint Laurence. Wait, gotta take off this mask. I'll put it back on as soon as there are people around, I promise. Okay, anyway. Here we go. There we have a lovely monument dedicated to Saint Laurence. It was realized, as the Italians would say, at the want of Pope Pius XI. Can you guys see, what does he have in his hand? It's not a giant abacus, it's a grill, which was a symbol of martyrdom. He was martyred by the want of the Emperor Valerianus, and I believe it was the beginning of August of 258 AD when he was martyred. He was a deacon of the church. It was a famous story that we used a lot in the forum. Sorry guys, I don't have a Kindle stick, so I'm going a bit up and down with this. But anyway, the way he was martyred because he gave the wealth of the church to the poor, the needy, the hungry, and Valerianus wanted to see the wealth of the church, and so he said, what is the true wealth of the church? He gave it out, as I said, to the poor, the wealthy, not the wealthy, the poor, the crippled, the needy, and had them follow him, and he went into the emperor's palace, and the Valerianus said, where is the wealth of the church? And he said, here is the wealth of the church, and at that point, Valerianus had him martyred by placing him on a grill. A famous tour guide story says, and it is said in the Book of Martyrdom, that Lawrence said to them as he was being grilled on one side, he says, I'm well done now, you can turn me over. So if you look closely, you see there is his grill. Anyway, getting back, let's take a look at the whole area that we're going to take a look at. And I just wanted to say, guys, as tour guides, we have a lot of things that we're ready and prepared for. You know, we go to the Vatican quite often and we do the Colosseum and stuff, but I wanted to take you guys off the beaten path. But I'm kind of like you as well, you know, a tourist seeing a wonderful thing. I have always found this church and this area to be one of my favorite places of Rome, even though I don't know an enormous amount about it. It's just a feeling of the place that I really enjoy so much. Anyway, let's just take a quick look on the outskirts of it. Here is the Church of Saint Laurence outside the walls, guys. Now, it is one of the 7 major churches of Rome, 7 major basilicas. If you were to come to Rome on a pilgrimage, you would go inside this church. There were 7 churches that you needed to go to if you were coming here for the Jubilee. Now, if you guys see all of these cypress trees to the next to it, to the left, behind it, we have an umbrella pine trees as well, and more cypress trees to the right behind those walls. Did you guys know that the cypress tree was sacred to the pagan god of the dead, Hades, or Pluto? It was always an important symbol. They would have certain trees and plants connected to gods and animals. So anyways, the cypress tree was always connected to the god of the dead. I also learned that the roots, they would go deeply into the ground. They would go straight down through so that they would not interrupt the graves. Often when you have mausoleums like the one built for Augustus or the one built for Hadrian that are in Rome now, they would have on the tops of them, they would be covered with beautiful cypress trees. Anyway, let's go back and look at it. So there's almost a hill right next to it. Now, what's really interesting about the church, and I'm going to try to get us to go on the inside, but when we go on the inside, we're going to have to be quiet. Do you guys see that this is the cemetery of Verano right next to it? And often, because of the location of it, there are a lot of funerals going on. And guess what? There is a funeral going on right now. You know, a part of us doing this, you know, is to kind of be involved as if we're alive here at the moment, traveling as if we're walking through. So I don't want you guys to feel like I'm going to try to commercialize the fact that there's a solemn funeral going on, but I want you to be as if you are a tourist walking here, because of course one would walk into the place. Let's see how it's going. I'm going to let it go through and maybe see the cloister first, and then we'll go inside the church. and of course after go inside the funeral. But there's one other thing that's really interesting that I want you to see. Many people ask me, they say, you know, Rob, in the Second World War, did Rome get damaged? You know, fortunately for us, a lot of Rome did not get damaged, but the Americans did bomb Rome. They bombed Rome, you know, like when you would lay siege to a town in ancient times or in the Middle Ages. You're going to try to attack the infrastructure. Well, they didn't have to attack the aqueducts. What are they going to try to do? They're going to try to get to the train tracks, because the train tracks are what are going to bring all the goods into the city. And that's exactly what they did in this town. This area of San Lorenzo is very much connected to the train tracks, along with an area where I lived, Pineto. Now, all of this area was bombed. And unfortunately, the entire facade of the Church of Saint Laurence outside the walls was completely destroyed. You guys can even look it up on the internet, and you can see that the front was destroyed, and the roof had collapsed on the inside. It was really, really badly damaged, but fortunately for us, they were able to completely repair it. It's amazing when we get up to look at the front of it. It is a 13th century facade, and the church is 11th century, but that they've done such a good job in restoring it. But there is a famous photograph that you can see, because the Pope at the time was a Pope, and his name was Pius XII. And in a very moving, dramatic fashion, what he did was he stood amongst the people after the city was bombed. You can imagine, no matter what was going on, how devastating it was to have these people flying over, the Americans, bombing the city, and how terrifying it was for people. I think we can all relate to that, about such terrifying things going on in our time period right now. It's easy to forget sometimes. But I think he stood out as a point of strength. He's a controversial pope by many people, by the way. Some say he saved Rome from being majorly destroyed, and others say he took a blind eye to the atrocities of the Holocaust. But we're not going to get into that on the tour. But I do want to take a moment to show you, because what they did is they made a statue of a famous position that he took in front of the people after everything was bombed around here in 1943, and I'm going to show it to you right now, because they made it into a statue, and you can see a photograph of it. So you can see here, basically he stood among the masses of people, and he raised his hands up and out in this position. So you can still see this photograph, and it's funny because inside St. Peter's there's a statue of Pius XII, which I find quite severe. But this I do not find as severe, and I think it's inspirational for people. So it just talks about that in the inscription at the base over there. Now, if you can see right behind him, they have this lovely entrance glowing in the sun for the cemetery of Verano. We're going to go over now towards the Basilica of Saint Laurence outside the walls. And I apologize, but I'm going to have to put my mask on. But what I'm going to try to do first, well, let me explain it to you. Basically, so Lawrence died in 258 AD. He was buried here. And they also have a series of catacombs that developed underneath his grave. Of course, where saints were buried, it was an important place for the faithful. Okay, so they wanted to denote this. And even when Constantine came into power, and we have Pope Sylvester I, who is the Pope at the time, in, let's say, 313 AD, they had a church built around this area. Now, originally, what the church was, and I find this very fascinating, if you can imagine where this wall is right here, that's to the cemetery, but it was a circus-form church. So it was a church in the form of the circus chariot race tracks that the ancient Romans used, because of course this was always an important symbol of the Romans, just as they would use for martyrs the palms of victory. It's kind of incorporating these ancient pagan symbols and bringing it in for their own uses. So there are apparently 6 or 7 of these circus-form churches. Now, there's nothing left of St. Lawrence's church built by Constantine that was in the form of a circus, but there is of St. Sebastian outside the walls, and his would have been right along where this wall is today. And we can even still see the ruins of another one, which I would love to take you guys to, St. Agnes outside the walls. Now, we're going to go inside towards the courtyard in a minute, but I did want to show you kind of strange. I've never seen this. It looks like a company brand funeral home over here. So you guys can even see that this is a modern hearse. You know, everyone was joking, the guys were joking, of course, because I did make a specific choice. You know, we are very close to Halloween, All Hallows Eve, which will be on Saturday. But did you also know, the first time I came to this area was not on Halloween, but the day after, which was the 1st of November. It is a national holiday in Rome, in Italy, excuse me. It's All Saints' Day. And then they have All Souls' Day after that on November 2nd. And it's kind of the day where you would go to visit your loved ones and clean their graves. And we'll even see that because around the cemetery we're going to see flower stands, and we're also going to see different funeral homes that are around the area, and even places to buy marble, of course, for gravestones. If you can look, this church that we see here, originally, part of it was built by Pelagius II. He became Pope in the late 500s. Think around 590. He was the one who was a predecessor of Gregory the Great. So this is a Pelagius II, and that was the 6th century. And then we have, that was the back part of it. The front part of it was the 12th century church. And just look at that amazing facade here. All right, it does look like they're finishing up the funeral and they're bringing out the flowers. But let's just take a look at the catacombs. Now, there's an art exhibit going on for people creating micro mosaics, mini mosaic, modern depictions. It's kind of interesting to take a look at. And when I go in, guys, I'm just going to have to give you a heads up. They're going to ask me for the certain regulations for COVID right now. That I'm going to have to write my name and write my phone number. So bear with me if it gets a little jumpy from that point. I just had Francesca Valente calling me for information, but I couldn't answer her phone, so sorry if we got interrupted for a moment. Maybe if you give her a call and tell her that I can't answer the phone. Again, so this is all part of where the Circus Forum Church was. I have a great fascination for those things. The cloister is also of the 12th century, and it was built by Clement III, the late 12th century. Okay. We're going to go inside. I don't want to be too obvious. It's really a beautiful cloister. And for me, it transports me to a different time. More so than many other places in Rome. It's just like you really don't see that many people. You can even see here they're working on the mosaics. Giving examples also of what it's like to create them. Metto mio nome e numero, là sul libretto. Grazie. Okay, guys, so here we are. Isn't this magnificent? So this is what I would call an oasis. Oh, goodness. So, 900 years old. And you can see in the back wall something very interesting as well. But I love the plants. Just look at this, guys. By the way, I'm sorry that I call you guys. I know it's really American to do it. Angelo is very elegant when he says my friends, but I just feel that I've always done it this way. It doesn't seem as authentic if I try to use another term. So this is Melegrano pomegranate right here, like little baby pomegranates. Aren't they beautiful in this cloister? And of course we can see lantana flowers in the background. We have some lavender right over here. And then we'll go on the other side and I'll show you some rosemary as well. And the lovely fountain and the sound of the water. This is papyrus being grown inside. This is what I mean, guys, where I feel like you're being transported somewhere else to a different time period. And you see, there's no one here with me. It's just me by myself. All right. Now I have to sign the book, follow the rules. Here we go. Clearly they ask. There we go. And my phone number. Now, if you guys want to check out this mosaic exhibit, look at this. I think it's kind of cute. It's the Empress Theodora as a kitty cat. Things that you find in Rome. Anyway, so look at the walls here, guys. I mean, we're walking along here, and imagine whatever order. I believe it's, oh gosh, I'm not going to even throw it. It could be the Carmelites or the Cistercians here. But you have on the walls, and Thomas can tell you more about it in his virtual tour of the catacombs. I did tell you that there were catacombs underneath the Church of Saint Laurence. Well, here we have what were loculi. Loculus was a singular grave. Maybe this was, see, this is a very, look at my hand here. Okay. Very small. May have been for a child because the mortality rate for infants is very, very high. But they are all graves here. Now, if you guys see the letters P and the X, all the guys are going to roll their eyes because they know it very well. Okay. I think we've reconnected, guys. I didn't have any problem when I went testing, but, you know, hey, here we go. Anyway, the P and the X are the first two letters of Christ's name, Chi-Rho. So the Chi is the X. As you can see, let's do it close up here. The X, Chi, and the P would be the Rho, so Cristo, the first two letters of Christ's name, among many other wonderful symbols that Thomas could talk about into his tours. Here's the base of an amphro piece. We have sarcophagi as well. There's some other interesting symbols, so we're going to walk through the entire courtyard on all four sides. Look at Bob Marley mosaic. Of course, I want to look at the tranquility, listen to the water. Look at the beautiful plants. Sorry, Brandon had all the goats with the bells going through for a while on his Happy Antico tour. But I don't think this is that bad. If you look up close, you can see whoever's drying their clothes up above. Looks like they've got some red sheets. Okay. Look at the two faces up above. I love this. I haven't seen this really anywhere else, but I know about what we call the refrigerium. Refreshments. Think about that. They, and probably the Christians did this as well in the early times. Okay, I'm back again, guys. Sorry about that. I think if I have to stay close to the columns. But anyway, I was talking about the refrigerium. So if I go to the walls, too close to the walls, that's what's going to happen. But I'm back anyway. So the refrigerium is that often the living would go to visit their loved ones and feast with the dead. The grave would have holes inside them, and you could pour liquid offerings. The dead were still enjoying the meals. Okay. I'm back again. Oh, what a bummer that this happens. You know, we tested this so this wouldn't happen, but it is. So life goes on, guys. So I'm going to get out of the courtyard, and hopefully we're going to have better luck walking outside, going towards the church. One more look at the courtyard over here. Sorry if I'm walking too fast. We need to enjoy it for what it is. So just imagine yourselves walking through here on your own, being curious about it, and wanting to go and finding out more. All right, we'll see what the situation is like in the church. Grazie. So they have this mosaic exhibit going on for about 5 days, from like around 10 a.m. in the morning till 6 in the afternoon, if you want to come check it out, but really to check out the beautiful courtyard. So here's another look at the beautiful 13th century tower, bell tower. And let's see what the situation is with the church. And let's check our time. Good. How's everybody doing today? By the way, I have a moment to read your questions here. Yes, Thomas, the cloister is incredibly, yeah, it sounds a lot nicer to say cloister than courtyard, doesn't it? You're right, it is incredibly peaceful. That's the thing, I really do feel transported going here. You know, we're on the outskirts here, we're outside the walls, obviously the Church of St. Laurence outside the walls, but we're near the university, La Sapienza. You can see one of its buildings right over there. Yep, it seems like the funeral has finished. The hearse has left. Great. So let's just take a look at the facade. Now, remember guys, I have walked inside the church. I really don't think I can talk too much inside because there's not a lot of people and my voice echoes. But just take a look at these amazing columns and the cosmatesque framing above in the architrave. And remember, this was completely destroyed and restored again. And we can look at the beautiful frescoes. These are 13th century frescoes depicting events of the life of Saint Laurence. Usually Saint Laurence, and then they kind of stick the life of Saint Stephen connected with him, but it's supposed to be Saint Laurence. I imagine that this is where Verano is having him placed over the grill. Alright. Now, let's take a look inside, everybody. It really is, for me, one of the most beautiful churches in Rome. And that's saying a lot because Rome has a lot of competition for beautiful churches. You can see these amazing Ionic columns as we go through. That reflection is the sun reflecting on the marble of one of the ambros on the side. See Padre Pio being depicted. You guys can't smell it, but there's a very strong smell of incense that was used because of the mass for the funeral. We're having remnants of frescoes that were found over. Ciao, Mario. Okay, now, here we have these amazing ambros off to the side. I imagine there was a better staircase to get up to the top of this. So, if you guys see the high altar, that is the original part of Pelagius II. So that's the part that supposedly comes back to the 6th century. And it has something very interesting. But here, just look at this glorious part here that's glowing in the sun. And of course, mosaic floors. Now imagine, guys, that because of the incense, can you see the effect here? It's not because my lens is blurry. It's this mist, this fog because of the incense from the funeral that just was happening here. For me, it almost gives this kind of mystical feel. And of course you have, even with this talk of in the architecture of a clear story, the raised area with these windows lighting up the entire area. Now we do have some artificial lighting, as you can see, but imagine with the sun, how it glows through and lit up the building. It's being helped by the camera though. It's a bit darker than what it seems, what we're looking at. And over here we have a Pascal candlestick and the full ambro. This is magnificent. It's truly wonderful. Now, I want us to go over to the front altar. Unfortunately, guys, there are some amazing 6th century mosaics, but they're on the other side. You have these, which are rather modern, but on the other side of them, they have the 6th century. So, if you guys can see these amazing Corinthian columns on the base and up above, you have these two layers. So this is one of the few churches that has what they're called the Madronae. So this was the original church built by Pelagius. Remember Constantine built the circus form church in the 300s. Then we have Pelagius in 590s. And then the church that we just walked through. So this is his high altar. Now guys, I'm going to walk down to it, but I'm not going to talk where we have supposedly the grave of Saint Laurence, or kind of denote connected to his grave. And we can walk around it. You can even see this beautiful tapestry. It is Saint Laurence, and he's holding the grail in his hand. I think for reasons, certain restrictions, we used to be able to go through all parts of the church, but now it's kind of closed and blocked off. But one could visit this other part of the church in the lower areas of Pelagius II's basilica. But I'm taking you wherever we can go. I also suspect that down that Sorry guys, but cut out again. Down that doorway you could go see the catacombs. Or here, this is a 17th century monument. It goes back to the previous saint that I was telling you about. His name escapes me, I'll admit it. Okay. Thomas, I did get reception, but it went away. Anyway, so guys, this is a taste of one of my favorite churches in Rome, St. Laurence outside the walls. Now, let's go and take a look at one of the most beautiful cemeteries, I think, in the world, or whatever I've seen, Verano. We're going to exit outside. Lighting's pretty good. There are people congregating after the funeral. So that was pretty cool, huh? Pretty amazing to go inside that beautiful church. The thing is, there are so many amazing things to see in Rome itself that you're kind of baffled by the fact that no one ever gets to see them. But you can have these wonderful, what I always say, authentic experiences. You get to have build a relationship with these amazing places on your own when there's no one there, and they're unforgettable. Now, I wanted to show us also, because it's Halloween, but really All Saints Day and All Souls Day, something that's also quite amazing. Now, let's just even look through the walls, because I find that the Italians still have their places of burial that are connected in some ways to the catacombs. They have a little, in the catacombs they would have oil lamps lit inside the catacombs. Francesca can tell you all about it because she is an archaeologist and she specialized in this time period. And they have electric torches here. Got to get out of the way of a car. But they also have something that's fascinating, is often the graves will have the image of the person that is buried there. Let's look through the wall. So we can see it's a mausoleum. Now if you guys can close up, let me see. It gets a bit problematic because of the gates in the way. But we're going to go inside and check it out. But you can see the photographs. Alright. Let me see how I'm doing for time. I'm doing well for time. But I'm going to move at a quicker pace. It's funny, some of my favorite flowers are chrysanthemums, but for the Italians is very much, the mums are chrysantheme, if I'm saying it correctly. They are flowers for the dead. So you're never really to buy them and present them to someone as a gift when you're going to someone's house at this time of year. I was also told about that with carnations. Let's see. So you can see the flower stands all through here, and if you look closely behind, you can even see Agenzie Funebre. But there are also places to buy marble slabs. So here are the flower stands that are open all the time if you want to buy flowers for your loved ones going through. But this place was originally there's a quadriporticus in it that was done by Valadier. When the French were here, they're the ones who really started this. Let me pull you guys back. But then it was Vespasiani. Am I saying it correctly? Over here, and look at this entrance. For me, this entrance is amazing. It seems very pagan. Inscription. So we're going to go and enter through. It's open. It closes its gates at 5, but you have to be out by an hour after 6 at this time of year. Let's take a look again. I don't want to try to rush, guys. I want you to enjoy the moment. Look at these magnificent statues. Now look, this truly is like a necropolis. It truly is an enormous city of the dead. So the gate was done by Vespasiani. Here we go, and this is where he's buried. So the man who designed this gate that we just looked at is buried right here. In here is his portrait. Don't worry, Pip, I'm not going to get locked in like Graceland did. It's a bit scary to get locked in a cemetery, because I always think of the movies like Return of the Living Dead. Anyway, it's just outstanding. The beauty, the individuality of these monuments, to me, is truly amazing. So we will walk through a bit of the area. And no one ever comes here. Now you have to imagine the first time I came here, and of course, like, look at this, guys. Look at all the chrysanthemums that have been planted. They're so beautiful. I wanted my partner to bring some over to the house where we're staying at his parents, and he said, no way, my mother hates them. She also hates cypress trees. Go figure. You see all the cypress trees around. Now look at this, guys. Not only do we have, you know, sculpture, we have here cameos almost being depicted of dearly departed. But if you look, I think these are really amazing. Look at this. How beautiful are these portraits? I mean, Giuseppe Cecchini and Giulia Piccini. Did you guys know, it's so funny in the United States, well, maybe not now today, but many people don't keep their maiden names, but the Italians, they do all the time, other legal documentation. All right. Oh, yes. And here we have what we do with modern times. We have people who are being buried still in the cemetery, and they have their own photographs. Giovanni Gazza, who died in 2008. Usually they don't have that much space here. Giulia Casa, right below. But if they have a family tomb, they're allowed to be buried in. But mostly this is full. Many famous individuals are buried here, and they do even have guided tours, which I would love to take sometime. It's vast. It's a vast place, guys. Look at this over here. We have, I wanted to take you guys down to, we have the chrysanthemums planted on the sides, and then we have these lovely cyclamens planted at the base of this monument to Mameli. And of course, I'm attracted to the wolf and the two babies being depicted. A martyr of the nation. Okay. And here, guys, now because it's getting late in the day, this is what I'm talking about with the lights going on. So it's amazing if you ever drove by the highway, because this ends up on the edge of the Tangenziale. You can see the lanterns. The little electric lights are lit everywhere. And now I'm going to be walking into the beautiful cryptoporticus that was designed by Valadier. Again, some of those amazing painted portraits. It's quite so beautiful. Valentina apparently passed away when she was 36 years old, and we have here Francesco Riem, who lived for 59 years, and he died in 1894. Look at this beautiful piece. So, when immaturely, I would guess to say at an early death, he was taken Cesare Carissimo Figlio, our dearest son. His son died at a young age. but a lot of it is taken out, so I can't read it that well, so I don't know how old he was when he passed away. Really a beautiful statue. Amiga Barbarossa. And of course there are fountains, not with potable water, but there are fountains readily available for people to change the flowers and fill the vases with water. You see, a lot of fresh flowers are here. People do come and visit the dead. They're dead regularly. Look at this. This is amazing. Look at this beautiful angel right here. Just stunning. All right. So when this is a large family tomb for people being buried from the last one, I think is 2014, Gabriella Maya in Ricci. There's just one other spot where there's a wonderful admiral, statue of an admiral, but I wanted to show you. And then we'll finish up the tour. Here, look at these are the fountains I was telling you about. And the garbage cans to change the flowers. SPQR, of course, for the Roman Senate and people. But you guys all know what that means, right? Imagine that one could spend hours in here. Let's go over. There are the people that are brushing off and cleaning the graves. You can see there. I don't want to focus too much on them. I just thought this was a kind of an amazing shot right here. Here we have one of the family graves. Lovely. And here we have this admiral named Simone Pacoret di Sambon La Marina, who passed away in 1895. Well, everybody, I think this is a good moment to conclude our live walk today. Thanks. I'm sorry we weren't able to do it yesterday, but we were having some connectivity problems in the Tuscan countryside. But I thought this would be going well with Halloween and All Saints Day. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Do let other people know about what we're doing. We will continue to do the live walks for as long as we can, barring any lockdowns that happen, but then we also are going to try to tape some to be able to send to you guys as well. Thank you so much for all your support. You guys have been going and giving us throughout all this time period. We're going to continue to do this as long as we can. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and tell everyone about us. And remember to join our virtual tours and help out our guides make a little income during this pandemic. All right, thank you guys so much. Ciao. Hey everybody, this is Rob from Through Eternity Tours. This is a test run for this afternoon, 4 p.m. Rome time and 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be doing the wonderful Church of Saint Laurence outside the walls. We're just checking the connectivity. Okay. So here we have the outside of the facade. Oh, there's a little bit of a lag. But I think we're good. Okay. So here we have the outside of the facade. So here we have the outside of the facade. So here we have the outside of the facade. So here we have the outside of the facade. So here we have the outside of the facade. So here we have the outside of the facade. So here we have the outside of the facade. So here we have the outside of the facade. So here we have the outside of the facade. So here we have the outside of the facade. So here we have the outside of the facade. So here we have the outside of the facade. So here we have the outside of the facade. So here we have the outside of the facade. So here we have the outside of the facade. So here we have the outside of the facade. So here we have the outside of the facade. So here we have the outside of the facade. So here we have the outside of the facade. So here we have the outside of the facade. So here we have the outside of the facade. So here we have the outside of the facade. So here we have the outside of the facade. So here we have the outside of the facade. So here we have the outside of the facade. So here we have the outside of the facade. So here we have the outside That's great. I have a notice telling me that I'm live. That's great. Okay. And we have Dylan helping out and putting the mask on. So we're just going to go inside the church and see how it works. If we still have signal. And be very quiet. Ooh, the lighting's really good. Anyway. It's really quiet in here. And amazing. Oh, at least I get to see it during the daylight. So I'll tell you all about it. The audio's not the best because I'm not talking. I have a mask on. How's the audio now, Pip? Can you hear me? Okay. Ooh. Anyway, I find this to be, whoops, as I trip. One of the most amazing churches in Rome. I mean, it's really unique. It's like a double church that's been made and combined together. Okay. All right, I'm going to just do a test from here. Let's see if we have some stuff. And I want to walk out from here to the cemetery. Whoops, let me go out this way. Of course, you're looking at the amazing cosmetesque floors. I have a bit of studying to do before I do an official presentation, but hey. Wow. It's a small uscita, but there we go. Okay. Hi, Marina from Lisbon. Pips, how's the sound now? Does it sound better? It's a beautiful day. This is Saint Laurence outside the walls, Marina. And Monique, yeah, Saint Laurence outside the walls. It's one of the 7 main churches you need to go to if you're going to do a pilgrimage to Rome in the Holy Year. San Lorenzo outside the walls in the area of Rome called San Lorenzo. But it also happens to have the large monumental cemetery, Verano. So we're just checking to make sure that we don't have any stop gaps with the signal. Now I'll do a walk from there. I really love this place. That's why I wanted to show it. And what better time than to go walk into a cemetery than during Halloween. You look in some of the gates here. You can really see, this is like an ancient necropolis. I mean, this is truly a city of the dead. I'll have a better microphone, Pip. It's just also I have my mask on. I'll borrow Dylan's microphone, yeah, because sound is important. So we gotta make sure that that works better. Anyway. Yeah, sorry, San Lorenzo in Rome, Marina. I make an assumption that you guys know I'm in Rome. Anyway, apologize. But it's going to be a big day here soon. On 1st of November is All Saints Day. And then 2nd of November is the Day of the Dead, more or less. Okay. And I just had to go and check today about the hours and everything. And Alright guys, so this was just a test run. Today we're going to be going through this area of Verano and the church San Lorenzo outside the walls in Rome at 4 p.m. Rome time. So we'll have a better sound system working and hopefully we'll see you then. Okay, ciao!